Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I am going to be talking about relationships and astrology in 2025. I am Margaret Gray. I am the co-founder of Relationships and Astrology. And I'm also a psychotherapist, and I work a lot with couples and relationships. So I'm delighted to be here, particularly because 2025 is really an incredibly significant year for us all, but individually, collectively, and in our relationships. And it's going to be a particularly important year if you have Sun or Moon or angles in Aquarius, Leo, Aries, Libra, Gemini, and Sag. To be honest, there's going to be something next year for everyone, but those are kind of the signs that are most going to feel it. And please don't assume this a negative thing. It just means that there's going to be some changes in your life and hopefully some very exciting changes. When I'm talking about relationships, I mean all our relationships that impact us, particularly the ones that we're close to. But keep in mind that we relate to people probably every day of the week and most moments of our lives, in terms of as soon as we go out the door, we're relating to somebody, whether it's our neighbor, the shopkeeper, our close friends and family, and of course, our significant others. So we are relational beings as human beings. And so I'm really expanding the term relationship to mean all our interactions, but particularly with people that matter in our lives. And as we know, we can be in relationship in a conscious way, or we can just relate in a fairly unconscious way where we're just reacting all the time. Very important for this coming year to be as conscious as possible, just because there are so many energies that play in the sky. And as we often say, as above, so below. So when there are big changes, and this year is huge, 2025 is huge because we've already had Pluto going into Aquarius. We've now got Uranus and Neptune dipping into the new signs that they're going to be in. So there's a lot happening. Let's start talking, though, about the nodes changing signs. One thing I do want to mention is that let me start by looking at some overall relational themes. Bear with me. First theme is really about what's going to be very important this year is owning our individual sovereignty. What I mean by that is releasing any patterns to do with being a victim. And that can also fall into the realms of kind of being a martyr to the needs of others. You know, sometimes we feel like I'm just here to look after others. That is something we're really going to be looking at in 2025 and hopefully releasing those patterns. They're not helpful for anyone. Also acknowledging the importance of friendships. So many people, so many clients, and I'm sure you experience this as well, are looking for the one person, the significant other to be with. And sometimes people sacrifice friendships for that significant other. That is going to really probably change in 2025, where we're going to value our friendship more and the importance of them. Think Golden Girls living together. We're particularly going to be looking at like-minded and like-hearted friendships. They're very, very important to us, and they can sustain us through these times of change. The third theme that kind of, really is important in 2025, and then I'll get more into the individual planetary changes, is searching for a like-minded tribe, which is basically finding people that match our ideals, match our values, match our way of thinking, rather than just staying connected to people out of habit, out of, codependency because we've known them for years, and out of a fear of loneliness. This is going to be a year, 2025, where we really need to kind of just own the fact that we are very complete as individual beings. Doesn't mean we don't love being close and intimate and to other humans, of course, to connect. But we need to first be our individual self, our sovereign self. So let me start with, as I said, the nodes, and then I'm going to steer back to Pluto. So bear with me. I've got some notes in front of me just to remind me in case I forget dates and things like that. January 11th, the lunar nodes switch. The north node goes into Pisces, the south node goes into Virgo. We know that nodes are not our points, they're not planets, but they're very, very important because they pull us collectively and individually in a certain direction. And I would interpret this nodal change as being really letting go of judgments. You know, it's so easy, and some cultures are more judgmental than others of people of how they should be rather than how they are. And instead, opening our hearts to unconditional love and recognizing that ultimately we are all the same. So basically, not treating some people as other, that they're over there. We need to be careful, though, with the North Node in Pisces for any patterns of avoidance, avoiding dealing with things in our relationships, avoiding dealing with reality. We know that Pisces can love the dream of a fantasy relationship more than the reality, because what it's searching for is this spiritual connection, which is wonderful. We all want that. We want that heart soul connection, but we also have to deal with the mundaneness of all of us of who we are. So that's very important. The nodes change sign, remember, every 18 months. So you might want to think back when between June 23rd, 2006 to December 18, 2007. What was happening in your relationship life at that stage? Because that's when the nodes were previously in Pisces and Virgo. Let me step back now to Pluto in Aquarius. We know that now Pluto is finally ensconced in Aquarius. We've had a lot of going back and forth in 2024. That's really what this year has been very intensely about. And Pluto was going through the last degrees of Capricorn. Now we are finally in Pluto in Aquarius. Aquarius is an air sign. It's not very warm and fuzzy. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but Aquarius is about getting the overall picture. It's about groups of people. It's about friendship, but mostly it's about ideals. So with Pluto in Aquarius, again, we're back to that realm of kind of ideals. But, you know, what should a relationship be like? What is the ideal relationship? What is fair and just in a relationship, in friendships? On the one hand, that can be really helpful to keep a balance, to maintain that. But on the other hand, it can also push us into that mental realm. It's a mental construct. People are humans. So can we deal with the frailties of the people we love? Can we deal with making mistakes ourselves? Where is our self-compassion? Now, if your sun or moon are in Aquarius or your ascendant, or if you have Aquarius on the cusp of the relationship houses, the 5th, the 7th, or the 8th, at some point, this is really going to impact you in your relationships. Or if you have a descendant or ascendant in Aquarius, this is going to bring some changes to your relationship life, because Pluto really brings up what isn't working. It kind of reminds us, hey, this is really not good for you. This isn't for you. And then it also sometimes invites us to let go of those things. And well, often it does that, really. We know that. And it brings in some kind of transformation. With Pluto and Aquarius, relationships may also change in terms of technology, using more apps. Also, we may have more long distance relationships because we've got so much technology that connects us. Be careful. If you're a water sign, or if your moon is in water, I should be more specific, that may not be enough. You might want, our moon in earth, you might want more of that connection, physical connection. So that might be a bit of a challenge. So again, back to awareness, consciousness. What do I need? How can I work with the planets? Very, very important. Before I go on to the changes with Uranus and Neptune, I want to talk a little bit about March 1st, when Venus goes retrograde for 6 weeks. This happens every 18 months, a bit like the nodes changing signs. And with Venus retrograde, we really are given an opportunity, as with all the retrogrades, whether it's Mercury or Mars, this time it's Venus, we are reviewing, reconsidering, reconstructing everything that has an RE in front of it, everything re-editing. But in this case, with Venus, it's about what we value. what we value in terms of ourselves. We've always got to work on self-value. Venus retrograde is a wonderful time to review our self-value and also what we value with others. Not a great time usually to start a new relationship. It is a good time to get in touch with people maybe we've lost touch with. I don't mean exes, I just mean people in our life that kind of matter that maybe we've lost sight of. Now, the the retrograde, I'm doing this during Mercury retrograde, so really, yeah. If I muddle my words, my apologies in advance. And Mars retrograde as well at the moment in Jupiter. But let's go back to Venus retrograde. It's going to be retrograde in Aries from March 1st to the 27th. The focus is going to be on ourselves, my self-value, who am I, what do I value? It then moves into Pisces March 27th to April 12th. Be careful. We can easily fall back into old delusions. We can kind of think, oh, maybe that relationship was so wonderful, even though we really suffered in it. So just be a little careful. But when it goes then, when Venus finally goes into Aries in May 2025, and it'll be direct, we are ready to take new action, maybe a new love or new approaches in our relationships. So keep that in mind. Very quickly, before again I go on to talking about Uranus and Neptune, I want to mention Saturn in Pisces because this is quite important. Saturn has been in Pisces since 2023 in March. In May 2025, it darts into Aries, stays there till September. This is important because Saturn makes us do something. It kind of makes us manifest something. And when it goes into Aries, it's really going to be a little bit more about me first. Now, for anybody who has not been really focusing on themselves, that is so helpful. It's like, okay, now I need to pay attention. I need to take charge. I need to make decisions for my life. Saturn was last in Aries between April 1996 and October 1998. Jot down those dates and then think back what was going on in your relationship life at that time. Okay, finally we get to the two biggies, as I call them, because they're the transpersonals, they're big energies. We cannot avoid them. We cannot put our head in the sand with these. At the end of March until October 2025, Neptune finally moves out of Pisces for the first time since 2011, and it moves into Aries. It dips into Aries, it then moves back into Pisces October 22nd. So it's giving us a preview, which is a very important thing to get. It's like watching a trailer for something. It gives you a feeling of it, a sensation of what the next 13-year cycle is going to be for Neptune in Aries. This is very powerful. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It means a whole new beginning for Neptune traveling around the zodiac. Of course, none of us are going to see it all around the zodiac. None of us do. But it is a huge, huge step. So this is time to really consider what Neptune always gives us an idealization, different to Uranus. It's not ideals on a mental level, it's a feeling level. It's the potential, the dreams, the possibilities that can be done. And Aries is about new beginning, new adventures. So in relationships, this is about what are our dreams? What are our dreams? What are we starting off? Very, very powerful time. Neptune also creates a fog, though, so it may create a little bit of a fog. So we always need to question, am I seeing this clearly? Can I see myself clearly or not? Very, very important. In 2026, of course, it finally goes into Aries for, until 2039. Let's talk a little bit about Uranus, because in 2025, Uranus does a bit of a dance back and forth between Taurus and Gemini. Taurus and Gemini are such different energies. Whilst it's been in Taurus since 2018, it's really helped us question all of our values, really kind of broken up things. Kind of when I say broken up, I mean it's opened the shell. It's almost like something has been limited or blocked or encased, and Uranus wants to break free. So it's saying, hey, this is Prometheus who brings enlightenment. This is about opening up possibilities. Uranus has a very exciting energy, but it's a very erratic energy. And you know the saying, Uranus with Uranus, expect the unexpected. So as it moves from Taurus, Taurus has really kind of what Uranus in Taurus has challenged our concept of values, our concept of security, our concept of finances. And finances are very important in relationships. So as it moves into Gemini, it's really going to be clearing up any of those issues in Taurus. And then it's going to move into Gemini, which is going to reinforce the Pluto in Aquarius theme of friendships, freedom, freedom from restriction, also communication, new ways of communicating, which are so important in relationships. Probably a lot more AI. And I know some people love it, some people hate it, but also technology. And imagine the incredible things that Uranus and Gemini could do with technology and Pluto in Aquarius in terms of helping our bodies to heal faster, helping our bodies to be able to move, people maybe who can't move so much. That also is a game changer for relationships, because when somebody gets ill in a relationship, it affects, of course, all the dynamics of the people around them. So Uranus in Gemini is really going to change a lot of things, including, of course, going to help us analyze our friendships. So new innovative ideas, new ways of communicating. Now, one thing I want to leave you with before, actually, one last thing, and then I'll say what I was going to say. The biggie is the Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees Aries point. The start of the whole zodiac, the birth of a whole new cycle, whole new era. Now, that conjunction is going to be almost exact in July 2025. So we are going to again get a taster of that, get a feeling of that, and it's going to be much more exact in February 2026. So we're going to get an inkling of things to come. This is going to be a huge opportunity for all of us to start afresh. Aries, back to independence, courage. Saturn Neptune helps us manifest our dreams. Very, very powerful time. These dreams of being an individual. Ideally, how can we be ourselves, the most authentic version of ourselves, and yet be in relationship with others without losing ourselves? That is so, so important and crucial. One last thing I'm going to mention before I leave you is that Aquarius, Aries, and Gemini, none of them, as I said at the start with Pluto and Aquarius, are warm and fuzzy signs. What we need to be aware of is to maintain our connection to our feelings. That's very important. We need to do that in a conscious way. And we need to be aware that for anybody with a lot of water, earth in the chart and not a lot of air and fire, this could be a little challenging, but it could be an enormous opportunity that the energies are helping us to learn to stand back a little bit, to actually not take everything personally, which, as we know, can create havoc in relationships because most of the time we're all operating from where we're at. And the gift of relationship astrology is that it helps us understand the chart of the other person, why they operate in that way. And then we realize it has nothing to do with us. It really has to do with them. And that's where we start building bridges between us. And that's where the healing, the joy, the pleasure, and the love starts. So keep in mind that ultimately relationships are about love. And love means a one level unconditional love, that we respect the person, we accept them. It doesn't mean we want to be in a relationship with them, but it means that we always maintain that respect for them as a human being. starting with ourselves. So we come right back to the start of being sovereign to ourselves and loving ourselves. That is absolutely crucial. So I leave you with those words. Please keep having lots of compassion, self-compassion, lots of love, and a sense of humor, because there's going to be a little bit, it's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster at times. But if we can maintain self-compassion and compassion for others, be conscious of ourselves, be sovereign to ourselves, and maintain as much as possible a sense of humor and fun, and enjoy those moments of joy. Really, really grab them and enjoy them, because they're very precious. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. Do have a look at our website. We've got very exciting changes coming in 2025 with relationships and astrology, a new program which is going to be a mixture of the old and the new. And I'm very excited about the changes that are happening. So please keep a lookout on our site. We're making some changes there. And I look forward to seeing many of you at our courses in 2025. Take good care, everybody, and happy holidays to you all.